Mm, 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 mm. Okay, let's do this. Let's see how this will take. Trying something out. Let's see. Let's try it. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Getting ready to just chop it up real quick. let me let me know you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know. I appreciate that. I haven't gone live in a long time, so I might mess a couple things up. Um, it's just because I haven't done it this way. I go live all the time with my students, but not publicly. But hopefully everybody's doing well. Let me know if you're on here, and if you are, where are you from? Say hello. Say something. Um, I'll just say hello. But I did want to chop it up real quick, just about a few things. People ask me all the time about Kneeology, and I just wanted to share a little bit about it and why we're not doing it, and why we haven't done it for the last 2 years, and when it will come back and all that other stuff. But I do want to talk about it. But just let me know. Hey, Talia, how are you? How are you? Blessings to you and all your endeavors and what you're doing in ministry. Um, I see all the things that God is doing, so I pray that you are continuously blessed as you do all those things. But yeah, I have been contemplating talking about this for a while now. Um, Tequila, how are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Please share this. I do want to share it with people. Again, I haven't been on here in a long time, so I don't know if it's going to be just us three and one or two. I don't know. But if you would share it, I would love for you to do so. I think I have some tools, some nuggets, some things that I can share, especially with those who are pioneers and those who are building. I'm a building apostle, and so I build a lot of things. And sometimes, especially when it comes to women in ministry, we have certain frameworks that we are married to, which are not always the best, right? But then also there is a framework for building in ministry, period. And a lot of times it is more catered to our male counterparts. And so I just want to share some of my experience and also share with you all the conclusion of why neology hadn't been happening for the last 2 years and literally dwindling over the last 4 years. We started way back in 2009, and so I can kind of share the history of it. And again, if you're a builder, you have a ministry, share this with somebody. This is something that I do believe is going to help them. It's going to help you with pace. It's going to help you with timing. It's going to actually help you understand your part and your responsibility. I put in the title, why I have decided not to do neology for so long. And again, 2 years may not be long to some people, but when you have life-changing experiences, a lot of times people, they put pressure on you and they're like, hey, when is this going to happen? When are we doing this? When are we doing that? And so I always want to share why I'm not doing something, but I wanted to wait for the right time to do it. And I think it's now. People are hearing a lot about the enlisted Neology School of Prayer and Intercession, which is not a prayer school, it's a holistic school. And so it really does encompass the whole of the person. I mean, head to toe, mind, body, soul, spirit, your finances, your relationships, all of it. And so that's what I want to get into and I want to talk about today. So, again, if y'all do me a favor and share this, I'll just start here briefly. And if you let me know in the comments, how y'all are doing in ministry. Again, I see a couple people who I know are in ministry and are building, and it is something that is not easy, especially when you're establishing. And then you got to look at the church culture that we have today versus the church culture in the Bible. I'm not even going to say back in the day. I'm going to say versus in the Bible. In the Bible, the book of Acts will tell you we had all things in common. And so it was, of course, you saw your schisms and you saw a lot of your division too. But it seemed like it was reconcilable pretty easy. And when I say easy, I mean they had a conversation. They were grown. They were being adults in the situation. Like, hey, we don't do that. We don't agree with that. This is not reflective of the body. We move on, right? But today we have a lot of opinion, and a lot of our opinion causes us to interpret the scripture in a way that is self-fulfilling rather than being scripturally sound. And we're able to rightly divide the word and stand upon that. And that is what we're doing now. So Kneeology, the conference itself, again, started as a seminar. It was a whole day seminar back in 2009. We had it in one of the sisters' homes at the church that I was attending at the time. And it was about 15 of us there. It was an amazing breakfast. It all came about simply because I could not stand the invitations that I was getting. And please don't think I'm being rude or anything, but I couldn't stand the invitations that I was getting to prayer breakfast. Everybody, when I moved to Atlanta, I was being invited, and I moved back here. I moved here from Washington State in 2003, I think it's 2002, 2003. And so I didn't want anybody to know I was a preacher. I wanted to be here for school. I didn't want to get involved with anything. However, old school bishop, he sends a letter to the church that he sent me to. And so then, boom, there you go. People know who you are. So you're preaching every week or often, and then people find out who you are. And so I was being invited to a prayer breakfast, and I just didn't understand the concept. I'm very literal, and people look at me, they probably think other things. One, people think I'm mean. People think I'm staunch. They think a lot of things. I'm a creative. They're afraid to approach me. I don't know why. But in any case, I'm very literal. And so I can be simple sometimes. And I was like, I don't understand it. A prayer breakfast. Every time you guys come, we eat. You want me to teach or preach, but you don't want anything after that. I don't get it. I'm not understanding it. And so I was very frustrated. I went to the Lord and I said, hey, I don't want any more invitations to the prayer breakfast thingies, because when I go, deliverance happens. It just gets ugly. And really, honestly, this food and what we're doing is not going together. And I honestly feel like I'm ruining people's events. I feel like that's what's happening, because every time I go, this is what's happening. I'm here to preach my nice little sermon and message, or give my little words of encouragement, and then deliverance breaks out, or people start getting healed, and it's just really weird. And I'm like, God, this is just off. Why are people calling it a prayer breakfast? Like, we're not even praying. Like, we're eating, and then people are talking, giving accolades to people, and then they say, hey, we have a great speaker. Didn't get it. And so I was in prayer, and literally the Lord shares with me in that moment in prayer back in 2009. He says, he starts to say this word, and I start hearing it was audible. Kneeology. And I never heard the word before. Now, some people say they used to say that back in the day. I believe you. I do believe you. But who registered and coined it? I did. All right, cool. So we'll move on from there. But in any case, I was like, okay, Kneeology. He said, you like to study science. I like to study science. I like to study a lot of philosophy and all those kinds of things. And that's how the Lord deals with me. And so I am putting the two words together. It's the study of, I'm like, the study of knees. No. Kneeology, the study of prayer. We are talking about kneeology. And so do it differently. So he tells me to do it differently. So I literally still incorporate the food stuff, right? So I host this breakfast at the sister's house at the church, for the church that I was attending at the time. And about 15 of us. It was amazing. It was a whole 8 hours. I have this whole curriculum. It talks about it's like a prayer process and all that stuff. So we did that, right? Then the next year, it was like, let's do it again, but let's make it bigger. My goal, I don't know why and where it came from. Nobody knew who I was. I wasn't well known. Yes, I was preaching in the little circles that with the church affiliations that I was a part of, but it wasn't like that. So I was like, let's have 100 people. That's going to be the goal. I need numbers in the sense of to have a goal. So I try to put things in that perspective. So we have that, right? We end up doing the conference. It's not a conference. It's a one-day experience. We had the breakfast, but we also prayed for an hour. So I was like, okay, I think this is what we're trying to do here. So we did that. Life-changing experience. People are super excited. We do it again the next year, 2011. Do it again. And so same concept, pray for an hour, have worship, have a speaker. People actually eat, you eat food and all that stuff too. And it was like, okay, I think we're still getting it. But then also, hey, y'all, do me a favor and share this. This is super important. I want people to hear about why we're not doing this anymore and why and what we're doing now, and how this can actually help you as a builder. Because we get stuck sometimes. We think that God tells us this one thing and we're like, that's it, and we're stuck. We don't move forward. We don't know how to pivot. I know COVID supposedly taught people how to pivot, but a lot of times we still don't know how to pivot, especially when we believe that God said. Those two words right there, God said, often stop us right in our tracks because we don't even take the time to evaluate whether or not did God say for now or did he say for later? Or is this me talking and I have confused the voice of God with my voice? Am I telling the truth? I think I'm telling the truth here for a little bit, but I'm always tell the truth. But in any case, I just, so we did that. So 2012 comes, it's like, we took a pause. We took a pause from 2011 all the way to 2017. I can show you from my Facebook, from emails from 2012 all the way to 2017. I was getting inboxes from people asking me, when is Kneeology coming back? When is Kneeology coming back? So this is not the first time we broke, right? We took a break, but we took a very long break for specific reasons. At the time of building ministry, and this is for all my builders on here right now, at the time in building ministry, I'm a loyalist. And so I was very loyal to the communities that I was a part of. When I say communities, I'm referring to the churches and the ministries. Very loyal, helping to build those houses, no problem. I'm not trying to build a platform for myself or anything like that. But the reality was, at that time, my level of confidence was not where it needed to be to continue to do what I was doing. What do I mean by that? Often when God gives us a vision bigger than what we can see, understand, and comprehend, we immediately begin to evaluate our ability to do. And so I started to do that, and I evaluated my ability to do, and I just couldn't do it by myself. And I didn't stop there. I didn't believe that I had the support that was needed to do it, right? Even though I was faithful, even though I was committed, even though I'm a pusher, I'm a push everybody else in X, Y, and Z, I just didn't think people wanted to help me. I didn't think people wanted to support me. And so that got me real stuck, right? And so I just kind of stopped and I halted. I was like, no, because people are fickle, especially when it comes to ministry. If you don't do for them, they can't do for you. They won't do for you. And it's got to be a tit for tat thing. And I just don't understand that. And I don't work that way. It's like, if God said, then I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna do it. Whether you help me or not, if God said it, then I am here to support you. And so I was looking for me in other people, and I was looking for me in other ministry outlets and things like that. And I'm not trying to boast about myself. I'm just telling you, this is the type of person that I am. And I didn't find that, right? And so just to speed up the story, you got those years of just, we're not doing that. We just building other people's stuff. We're gonna build ourselves in the professional world. And that's what we did. We built ourselves in the professional world, became a professional, also was doing, creative things. Y'all know the Mindbox design and marketing firm. If you've never heard of it, you might be under a rock, but that is my company. And so we did a lot of people in the church world. We did a lot of that. Now I'm a consultant rather than a designer alone. I do more so consulting and building and establishing in an apostolic way in a professional manner. So, which is super cool. And so if you have any of those kind of needs, definitely, check us out or whatever. But in any case, what I realized was that we brought this thing back. All right, y'all, I'm gonna do it again. Share this with your community. All right. This is going to be some good information for builders, for people who are trying to do God's will or wanting to do God's will and sometimes get stuck. All right. And then you got to pivot, and you got to not feel bad about the pivot. All right. So here we are. Fast forward. I'm fast forwarding everybody. Here we are to 2017. We bring Kneeology back. Now, mind you, our peak registration at the time was 100 people. That was back in 2011. All right. That was back in 2011. Peak 100 or so people. It was 110 people to be exact the first time, 121 the second time. I was keeping the numbers because to me, healthy things grow, right? That can trip you up too. Okay, builder, if you building, Don't look at the number, look at the quality. It's not always the quantity, it's always going to be the quality. All right. So don't look at it that way. Look at the metrics. When you look at the metrics of what you're doing, what were the outcomes? What was the fruit? Always measure in fruit, never measure in quantity. All right. I hope that helps somebody. All right. So and that kind of got me stuck too. So in any case, 2017, we had nearly 400 people show up. I was in shock because I'm like, I've been quiet for 6 years, literally quiet, not doing anything for the church world or any of that, just quiet. But I knew we had to bring it back. So 2016, this is where the story gets good. So this is where you want to share. This is the part you want to share because this is where we talk about irresponsibility. This is where we talk about irresponsibility. And so 2017, it was amazing. Now, at the time, if you ever heard of Kneeology from its beginning, it's one day, whole 8 hours, one day. So that was the model for it. One day, we are pushing as much information in you as possible. And the goal is demonstration, God's demonstration, not us, but you getting all this information, impartation, demonstration, all in 8 hours, right? So that's what happens in 2017. But this is where things start to change. I'm telling you, go share this. This is where things start to change. So the first time this happens, we're not, for me, TAP Ministries. This is the ministry that I am. I'm an oversight for this ministry, TAP Ministries. My oversight over us is Apostle Samuel Giles. And so in any case, the ministry in and of itself, we're not home wreckers. I say this to everyone. I say it to our volunteers. I let them understand, hey, we're not pastors. We're apostles. And at the time I wasn't saying that. I would tell people like, listen, I'm here to coach you through certain things and help you through certain things, but I am not your pastor. I am not that person that you're going to go to church. Like I don't have a church. And so we try to be very clear about these things. But what started to happen is the first time in 2017, we started getting people in one day ready to leave their church. Ready to leave their church. Nobody was preaching about churches. Nobody was teaching about churches. Nobody was telling people to do these things. This is where I talk about irresponsibility. I didn't understand what was happening. I'm like, this is a prayer, literally intercession. This is like massive intercession. Our first one, we talked about intercession frequencies. It was wild. It's the first time I taught intercession frequencies. If you ever heard this from anybody else, they got it from me. Okay. So, and again, I'm not being arrogant. I am the one who coined this whole idea of intercession frequencies. Okay. And forensic intercession. All right. These all happen for, intercession frequencies was something that was written back in 2015, 14, 15, something like that I had and I'm working on. And then we were ready to release it in 2017 for Kneeology. All right. And so this is what we're teaching about. I mean, when I say it, the frequency in that building was insane. It was so insane. The way we fasted and prayed for this leading up to it, we knew God was going to show up, didn't know how, and didn't know that many people were going to come either. It was crazy. Didn't know that many people were going to come. But what was triggering for us was the amount of people that the day of and after, where's your church at? I don't have a church. I went to a church, but I wasn't a senior pastor or leader of a church in that way where you can come to my church. No, Truth and Power Ministries is a ministry and that's it. And so this happened this time. So we talked to the board. We're talking there. We're like, listen, I don't know what can we do for these people? Because they're literally leaving their church. We don't have anywhere to tell them to go. Did you hear the problem? Did you hear the problem? We had nowhere to tell them to go. I was at a church. I'm going to say it again. We had nowhere to tell them to go. That was heartbreaking for me. I didn't know what to say to these people. I didn't know how to lead them other than stay where you are. Ask God for direction. But they were saying, I've never eaten like this before. You can't compare this 1 8-hour experience to you've been at this church for 15 years. You've been at this church for 7 years. I don't know what to do with that. Again, I'm young. I'm in ministry. I don't know what to do with that. I don't even know how to help you other than we pray. God, give them direction, give them patience. I don't know, help them to understand that you just don't hop up and leave and do X, Y, and Z. And so people started to kind of blame us and say that we were doing these things. Had they been there, they would know that you would never hear any type of invitation to join a ministry, a movement, or a church. All of us in my staff, we went to the same church pretty much. And then some of our volunteers went to sister churches that we were affiliated with, that we did ministry with. And again, I say I had nowhere to send them. Nowhere to send them. This is where the irresponsibility part comes. And so we're like, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you. Wash my hands of it. Look, I don't know what to tell you. We planning for Kneeology 2018 now. We planning, we moving forward to 2018. Some people end up joining the church that me and a lot of my staff members and board members, we were still at. And I didn't understand why they did that. I was like, oh my God, why would they do that? Because to me, it was not for, again, I'm going to say it this way, be as kind as possible. I had nowhere to send them. Okay? I had nowhere to send them. I am a apostle who has been looked at as a shepherd who cares for the sheep that she's responsible for. All right. You can ask any of my enlisted, if any of my enlisted are on here right now, any of those from Whole 180, any of those who served in Kneeology, they know I care for your soul more than I do your talent. I care about you more than I do about anything else. And so I'm going to ensure your safety, and I'm not going to send you somewhere, recommend you anything that is going to cause detriment to you in the future. So here we are planning for 2018. Again, here's the reason why we right now don't have Kneeology. 2018, amazing. We do intercession, we do forensic intercession. If you know anything about forensics, you will be super excited because I love forensics. I love science. I love study. I just love all of those things. We do forensic intercession. The craziest one, it was one of my favorites. This is 2018. One of my favorites, though. I walk in the building. All the people are there. We couldn't believe that it was this many people there. So at this point, we have nearly 500 people who are here. So again, you get to see the fruit. You see in the fruit, right? Or you're seeing the number. You're seeing the number, right? But it's actual fruit. So I can still count it that way. But also there was an unhealthy thought that if the number didn't grow in registration, then I was failing. So again, we started with 110. And then by the time we skipped 6 years, we ended up with over 300, nearly 400 people. Then the next year we're here and we're at a little over 500 people. Okay. 2018. So we talk about forensic intercession. When I say massive, they were running to get buckets before we even started. People were manifesting. And I mean, at this particular one, we fasted for 40 days. We fasted for 40 days. I believe this was the one we fasted for 40 days. My staff, the clothes was falling off. It was just really wild. But in any case, we had this one. It was amazing. It's one of my favorite Kneeologies. I could tell you why. You can go on YouTube and watch some of the recap. One of my favorite Kneeologies. If you ever seen me, and there's this picture of me twirling my tallit, that is where that one is from. And again, it happens again, y'all. It happens again. If you're catching up, I was talking about how first Kneeology 2017, after the rest, the first Kneeology back, we had people ready to leave their church and leaving their church and joining the churches that we were currently at and all of that stuff. It happened again. This is where we talk about irresponsibility. It happened again. And I was like, we got to do something about this. What is happening here? We got to do something about this. Why are people doing this? It's one day, guys. Literally 1 day of 8 hours that could transform you that much so that your tenure of 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, you've said to yourself, I can't go back there on Sunday. I'm not being boastful. I'm saying what I'm saying for a reason. There's a problem when that's the case. It was only 8 hours. It was only 8 hours. So you ate that good that it made you say, I can't go back home. That's insane to me. And maybe it's insane to me because the way I was brought up. I was brought up to be responsible with my relationship with God. I was brought up to study myself. I was brought up to learn myself. And there was an insatiable hunger, period, just in me. And so maybe that's an innate thing. And I also believe it's something that we have to train the body. And so it happens again. So then, boom, we move to 2019. I'm skipping because I want to make sure you see the progression here. 2019, amazing. It was crazy. We do another. This time we do. It's the 8 hours. It's crazy. It's like, oh shoot, this is gonna be wild. You got people coming from everywhere now. Got people coming from everywhere. We're at 600. We're at 600 people. So we're like 2019. This is just insane. You can go look on YouTube. You'll see that one too. You'll see the recap. It's a sea of people. Nobody knows who I am. And this is why we would call ourselves nameless and faceless. We would say, and if you ever seen those shirts, those are our shirts. We are nameless and we are faceless. That's what we would say about ourselves, because we're just here to do the work. We're just here to do the work. We have an amazing, successful, you see the number growing. Again, in my mind, my ego is now like, yes, thank you, Lord. We're growing, we're growing. And it's still an immature, unhealthy thought pattern, because it didn't matter if it went down to 300. It's about, remember, it's about the quality, the fruit, the quality of the fruit, not the quantity of the fruit. Okay. And so then we're here. It happens again. You see how this is happening in 17, 18, 19. It happens again. People leaving a church, people following us wherever we are. We don't have a church. The problem again, why can't we send these people somewhere? You might be saying, well, Apostle, why didn't y'all just get a church? That's not what God called me to do. He called me a builder. I'm never going to be in one place at one time. And this is the problem that most people had with me when I was younger. They didn't understand. They and I didn't understand. If I'm going to be honest with you, I did not understand. Like, I felt like there was an assignment here. Then when I was done, I was done. I didn't even know what was going on. But that is the life of most apostolic builders. Even in business, when you're done with that acquisition, you move on to another one. You keep on building. That's your lifeline. You just build. That's what you do. All right. And you get poured into. I have great accountability who pour into me. I have great leadership who keep me in line. My board is clutch. They don't play when it comes to my soul. So I have that. So I'm not one of those renegades. So don't get it twisted. I'm not one of those kind of renegades. All right. Y'all share this. Y'all share this. So again, we have 2017, 2018, 2019, people leaving their church, following us. And there's no need to do that, because where we are is not for you. We're on an assignment. I promise you it's not fit for you. It's not fit for your soul. You might get hurt here. You literally might walk away from God here. And you can't tell people that. But this is what was happening. So I'm getting frustrated at this point. I'm like, people going to think we're home wreckers. They're going to think that we do this one day, 8-hour experience. And this is our plan and our goal to get people to split the church. I don't know why people would think that, but people are weird. And so they think stuff like that. And so this is what's happening here, right? 2019. Then we move on. Then we have, I think 2020, we end up having our one, or is it 2021 during COVID? We had to skip 2020 and go into, we had it online. That was the first time we streamed it. We never would stream. That's one. We never streamed. That's one. And we still don't to this day. We never stream. Why? Because you just need to be there. Like, there's nothing for us to do for you. Like, if you're not there, you don't understand. Ask yourself this. If people are eating for 8 hours and they're really willing to walk away from a 20-year relationship, you ask yourself, how can that, you streaming this, do something for you? You need to be in the building. But that's not the point. The point is that we didn't understand why this was happening. So the frustration was, we're a team when it comes to the body. Why can't these people eat what we're eating? What's happening where they're not being fed the word of God? Because all we do is teach this here. This we just go through this. We teach this, and whatever God brings out of revelation, boom, we make sure it's rightly divided. We check it. We ensure that, hey, like even when I started teaching intercession frequencies and intercession and forensic intercession, I bounced it off of my pastor, which is Apostle Samuel. And I said, is this off? Even there's some of the stuff I teach now with Enlisted. I asked my board, hey, this is what I got out the scripture. This is what I extracted. Even when I did a historical study, this is what makes sense. Then when I compared it with what I was studying from psychology as well as philosophy, this is how I bridged the two together. Does that make sense? Am I going in a door that I don't belong in? This is responsible. So I didn't understand why full churches were irresponsible. So irresponsible that you felt comfortable feeding your flock stale bread. And then they come to us for an 8-hour experience. And then y'all start saying that we are home wreckers, that we're breaking stuff up. So you know what happens? After Kneeology, online Kneeology. We didn't have another one until 2022. We had that one in Chicago. That's when I came to Chicago. We had that in Chicago, and then it was nearly maybe 150 people, maybe 200 people. Listen, we trying to get out of COVID. It wasn't a lot of people, but I'm not using that for that purpose. What I'm saying that for is because I think this is when we needed to make the change. This is when we needed to shut that down. Bishop Fonzer, I haven't seen you in so long. Man, you're such a blessing. I'll just take a sidebar and we'll talk later. I'll message you. I know you sent me a message a while ago, but I'll make sure I message you. I always think about the books you gave me. I always think about those books. But in any case, so we started to see then, and I thought to myself, maybe it's because the numbers, and well, maybe it's because I'm in Chicago. Nobody know who I am here, and I built for so long, and we plowed for so long in Atlanta. Maybe we need to go back to Atlanta. But I knew I couldn't do it in Atlanta. I knew that wasn't the place for me. I was done with Atlanta, not in the sense in a negative way. I did my job. I didn't leave anything open. I did the best that I could. I covered as many openings as possible in intercession. I did my job accountably. All right. So I felt the release to move the ministry to Chicago. So we did that. And I was like, man, we back to square one. Like we didn't have like this until like 2011. So here we are. So I'm questioning myself. I'm like, man, maybe I should stop. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe it should be over. So then again, we have people asking us, well, where do you go? Right now I'm online. Don't worry about where I'm at. Don't worry about it. We move into 2023. We're speeding up. We move into 2023 and we have the same situation. It's smaller. It's smaller than that. It's maybe 100 people there. Maybe. Right? So then I said, well, man, maybe I ain't getting the memo. Maybe I'm not understanding what I'm doing. I said, maybe it's Chicago, because I know here in Chicago, they're very, I've learned they're very territorial, but also in Atlanta, it's the same way. So I didn't really know the difference, but they don't know you, then they not supporting you. Like, and even if they know you, they may not support you. It don't matter. It's very cliquish and interesting, but to each his own. It's okay. I'm a builder and I'm here to do God's work, and then I'm out. That's just kind of how it is. Same thing with Atlanta. I was there for 19 years. I did what I had to do, and now I'm out. And now a lot of you all who have ministry there in Atlanta, I don't need you to give me flowers. I did my work. I know what I contributed to, and that's just what it is. So we're here, 2023. I'm asked again, are we going to have 2024? I said, no, this is the last one. I said, we probably won't return until 2027, 28. I don't even know why I said those numbers at that time. I said, that's probably when we'll do that. That's probably when that will happen. Right. And so I am now Apostle Yvette. There's Apostle Yvette. There go my sister Jarabia too. I'm just looking at the chats. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, God, am I a failure? Did I fail? Was I irresponsible because people were leaving their churches and their ministries and I had nowhere to send them? Is that my fault? I'm literally going through all of this in my mind. Like, what's happening? Like, is this our fault, God? Did we do this? Like, all we did was obey you in hosting something that literally lives in heaven. Kneeology is an actual place that exists in heaven. Now, you might get weirded out. You might feel like no, this is a factual thing. Kneeology is a place wisdom herself gave me what I need to know about this place. Okay. It's an actual place that exists in heaven. Y'all talk about threshing floors and all this. No, this is an actual trading floor. It's a place that exists. And I had no idea back in 2008 and 9 I just obeyed God. It's in all my little journals. I wrote it out. Finally got it registered and all that good stuff legally, because I didn't want to taint it, but I did that because I found out that sometimes us, even as believers, we can be real vicious. We can do some crazy stuff. And so, there are some other companies or ministries that will try to use it. And, I've had to do the cease and desist at times. I don't like to get involved with that because this is God's stuff. And I'm not trying to be controlling over his stuff, but I am trying to be a good steward. So I try to do the best that I can to protect what he gave, right? Because when I get out of here at 120 years old, because that's my checkout date, that's what I decided. It's my checkout date. When I do that, I want to make sure that that's left to the right person, the right ministry to guard that floor, that place that actually exists in heaven. And so I'm doing this. And so we cut it out, right? And then God begins to deal with me about this school. Here we are to today. Now we're at today, 2024, which is the next year after Kneeology. He goes, I'm literally sitting down and I'm writing all this stuff out. And I'm like, we could just have the conference and we can add more days to it and call it a day. He's giving me a whole plan for a year. And this is about responsible relationship. Can somebody type that? Somebody say that in the comments. Responsible relationship. So I said, God, was I irresponsible with Kneeology? He said, no, that's not what that is. He said, you have to understand sheep. They have to be taught. 8 hours is not enough time to then break down what you just fed them. Think about it. You're eating and it takes time for your food to digest. You're eating, but that food ain't digested yet. It tastes good. And you're like, I want some more of that. But it takes time for it to break down in your digestive system. So he starts to show me, he says, so what we're going to do, we're going to take what we know about responsible relationship, which is a decided life, which is a life of discipline, which is reflective of a disciple of Yeshua. We're going to take that and we're going to take the body through a year-long process. And those who want to be responsible with their relationship with me, they're going to go through this process. We've already been prophesied to, and this is where we're talking about Kneeology, a school of prayer and intercession, the enlisted. Again, it's not just a school of prayer and intercession. It's almost like a cover store. Y'all know what a cover store is? It's like, so let me just say this. I used to work for, I used to do tech recruiting, right? For Wayfair. And so I'm doing a C-suite and up, doing those types of recruiting for positions, right? So you go through, they have one of the best onboarding processes. Now, I do believe that their shipping sucks. Okay. I'm just going to say that, I don't like the way the shipping system is set up. But what I will say is their onboarding process, I haven't been with an organization that onboards better than them. What I learned on this onboarding process was that they are not a furniture store. Wayfair is not a furniture store. It's a data analytics like headquarters. They're one of the top. Didn't know that. Could have never knew that. Who could have ever convinced me that that's what they are? They all about data analytics. That's it. Not about shipping, not about furniture, not about stores. Their game is data. I didn't know that. Our game is responsible relationship. You see the enlisted, Kneeology School of Prayer and Intercession. Oh, they just a bunch of people praying and being intercessors and doing this and doing that. Joke's on you. Reality is your whole life has changed. If I got any Eagles on here, they could testify to that. Your whole life changes. So this is what God was trying to get me to. He says, and my sister and friend, Apostle Rain, she said this to me, I think it was last year when I first started. The enlisted, she goes, this is what Kneeology is supposed to be. I said, exactly. This is exactly what Kneeology was supposed to be. It's a school of the spirit that literally requires the believer to be responsible with their relationship with God. We have so much irresponsibility with microphones, so many irresponsible people with massive buildings, collective places to go. We have all of the vestments and the attire, but we're irresponsible with our own soul, let alone the soul of the people we are supposed to be partnering with Yahweh in order to ensure that they have the relationship that's needed to carry them through this life. So that's why we don't have it anymore. Because now, like I said, 2027 or 28 is when it will return. Here's why. The school itself is, our first run is 4 years, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27 is the last year of the first round. Once we go through these 4 years, we will have responsible believers who can handle what it is that Kneeology is supposed to produce in that short period of time and not just have it rest on 6 people, 10 people. Because that was a lot of weight for us. And so now God is like, no, I'm using you to train the believer into being responsible. Now you tell me, where's Sunday school? Where's Wednesday night Bible study? Instead, we're having coaching sessions. Where's the word study? Instead, we are still having debates of whether or not what we should wear, who we should listen to. We're out here measuring people's word when your relationship can't be measured. It's crazy out here. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? So it's okay if you have to pivot. Hear what God is saying. At first, I just thought I had failed. And he's like, no, we're in the perfect position to introduce this school to a hungry people. If you do an assessment of the world right now, they are hungry for the supernatural. I'm not talking about, well, let's heal these backs. And I ain't ragging on that because that's an amazing thing. Because when my back be hurting, I need a good hand laid. I don't want to always have to go to the chiropractor. So I'm cool with that. I got a headache, got loose here, and I'm glad about that. But I'm talking about the spiritual elevation and ascensions that people are hungry for, that gives them answers and solutions so that they can actually live a life in this world that is productive. Fruit that remains. Somebody say that. Fruit that remains. This is the type of school that we doing here. It's about fruit that remains. You got to ask yourself, aren't you tired of doing the same stuff over and over and over? We could have pushed Kneeology. We could have been, no, let's make it bigger. No, let's invite the same people that everybody else is inviting on their flyers. Let's do that. We could have done that, but for what? How effective and edifying is it for the body? What believer? I'm going to tell you the type of believer I am. As an apostle, I will go to somebody's school. If God is like, no, that young man, that young lady right there, what they're doing, I need you to take their class. I'm not too big for that. I never understood the concept. You became a pastor, an apostle, a bishop, and you can't keep growing. Oh, because I'm so-and-so and people know who I am. Get in this class and sit down. Oh, I'm a Grammy Award winner, and you still need to get in this class and sit down. This is why we can even look at our artists. I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about our artists having mental breakdowns, having their addictions exposed. They're finally getting help as if we didn't see what was going on. But because we didn't have the platform, ain't nobody want to hear what you had to say and couldn't believe you and wanted to say you're being judgmental and you're being high and mighty and you're being self-righteous. But the reality is that these people were irresponsible because their fathers were irresponsible. And because that is something that's perpetuated, these are the types of people that we listen to. They're going to shut you up. They don't want to hear what you have to say. Who are you? You ain't nobody. You're right. I am nobody. I am somebody. That's the reality. And so we have to get to a place where we are responsible with our relationship with God and sit ourselves down somewhere. I was telling somebody, I said, you're a leader. You are a leader in the organization that you are in. And for you to sit yourself down under another human being, that says something totally different. People don't seem to have the ability. Well, I lead a mega ministry and I do this, and you're still fumbling the ball, aren't you? You're still out here being messy, aren't you? You still have character issues. And this is why. Because we're not responsible with our relationship. Who holds you accountable? Who tells you to sit down? My students pray at least 365 hours out of the year, at the least. My students fast at least 52 days out of the year. My students write books. My students have homework every week. This is discipline that has been stripped from the church and replaced with entertainment. Where's Bible Bowl? Where is the study groups? Where are the study groups? Where's the Bible band? Who's the one sitting there with the record and tell me how many scriptures have you learned this week? Okay, how many can you recite? Can you tell me what this is and what that? Oh, that stuff don't even really matter. But this is why we have no substance. Am I telling the truth? This is why we don't have any substance. So we had to shut the whole thing down. And so we'll be ready in 2017 or 2027. We'll be ready. We'll be ready because that's going to be our last graduation for the first round of this school. Yes, it is a 4-year. You can do 1 year. You can do the first year. You don't have to do all 4, but we recommend you do all 4. We're working on our accreditation and all of that good stuff as well. But it's a burden of ours. We want to see the body win. We're not in competition with anybody. See, this is when the truth come out. That's why I say, go ahead and share this. Go ahead and share this. This is going to help people. This is absolutely going to help people. This is the burden. The burden is to see the body healthy. He wants us healed. He wants us whole. He wants us healthy, and he wants us wealthy. What sense does it make for us to sit up in church and say we are intercessors, unhealthy, and broke? What sense does it make for us to say we speak to God, talk for God, profit, but can't work it out in secular society? It doesn't make any sense. You and I lack discipline that the world is beating us at every single time. Well, it don't take all that, but it does, because they get up at 4 a.m. They sit and do their meditation. Then they get up. Then they go pray to whoever they praying to. Then they do their little, bends and all that stuff. Then they go work out. Then they go drink this. Then they go eat that. Then they go show up for their little meeting. And then guess what they do? They get the deal. You want to know why? Because the same people got the same access to the same spiritual world, but they're disciplined enough to do what's needed to get the information. Oh, Apostle T, or are you saying? I am saying, yes, that is what I'm saying. The spiritual world is an open highway, and whoever is on it can grab the information. That's why we get the information and we're irresponsible. And so now you're looking at the world like, I don't know why they get wealthy just like that. No, they're disciplined. They got a plan. I was looking, if you ever have time to do this, go watch a documentary called General Magic. It's about the person who actually made the first cell phone, the first one. And when he made the cell phone, what intrigued me about the documentary is that he told the person interviewing him, he says to that person, he says, you know what I did? He said, I went to the future. And the person was like, oh, he paused. He said, no. He said, no, I literally went to the future, got the phone, and brought it back. I knew exactly what he was talking about. See, you see the saints undisciplined and spooky, but can't get a breakthrough spiritually because you're not disciplined enough. You don't understand the spiritual things. Sons are spiritual and they understand spiritual things. Oh, no, she on the edge. No, I'm in the book. I'm in this book. And so when he reveals spiritual things and it's under the guise of discipline, and there's only one door we go through, and that is Yeshua himself. We don't operate in any other door. I know that Yeshua holds my future. I know that my future is there. So why wouldn't I be able to access it? Oh, it's because I'm not disciplined enough. Do you not know and understand that most pastors do not pray? Most of them only study because we got to preach on Sunday and Wednesday. That sucks. Go look at Barna. Go look at the studies for yourself. I hate that for us. We've got to fall back in love with the word and become disciplined. We've got to become disciplined. I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share that with you because some people, they have questions and people be talking about enlisted. It's just a nah. It's not just it's literally a school of the spirit that's changing and transforming people's lives. And if you would get out yourself, swallow your pride, maybe your life could be changed too. Everybody know it's not about building Tantalel's name or building Tap Ministries. It's about getting the team back as a winning team. Again, we are a team and we suck right now. We got a scandal every 5 minutes. We got somebody in rehab every 3. Like, what the heck are we doing? We can get ourselves together and win this thing. What are we winning? Life. We can actually have a voice of value. We can actually be worth our salt and not just be a bunch of talent that can sing and give people goosebumps and who can prophesy. Oh, aren't you just like the soothsayer down the street? Because everything you prophesy is straight surface. You're not talking any biblical sound doctrine to help people live and walk this thing out. I'm sitting right here in the office in one of the homes that we have that God literally by faith, this is what I'm saying, living by real faith can produce real favor. The way I got in here, the way God opened this door, ain't possible. It took faith and the favor of both God and man. That's what we see in the scripture. With Jesus, he grew in stature and in wisdom and in favor with both God and with man. That takes a mature son. When the Bible says the earth is moaning and groaning for sons of God, ain't talking about babies, talking about weos every single time. A mature son. You can't be mature, not disciplined. I'm doing a lot of talking. But in any case, I just wanted to share that. And and if you're interested at all, you could definitely DM me and we can get you some information on the school. But if you didn't even watch the let me do this. I think I could do this. If you didn't watch the info session, I don't know if I can. Maybe I can put this in the comments. Let me see. It will show up here. I'm not sure. I think it's on YouTube. I can put it on here. You can go look at the info session and you can go check that out. Maybe that'll help you. And you can make a conscious decision. You can make a good decision. Okay. But I would love for you to consider it because it's not about numbers for me. It's about, I'm looking for 50 new students, and it's for a reason. Because I believe that the more we grow, your church grows, your ministry grows. I got some eagles on here right now. Y'all tell them in the comments, like everything, your business grows. I got an eagle that just retired. Like I got all kinds of things that are happening. Men, I got couples. I got two that are getting married next year. Like God is doing some amazing things and he wants to get us stuff, but he can't get us stuff because we irresponsible and immature. We got to be responsible with our relationship, and it takes discipline. Are y'all understanding that? We got to be responsible with our relationship, and it takes discipline. It takes discipline. Oh man, that's going to be a lot. Well, you can actually live a mediocre life. You tell me if that's not a lot, because that is a lot. That's stressful. I'd rather not be mediocre. I'd rather be just amazing. I don't want to be mediocre in life. I don't want to represent Christ. That, as a child, I told God when he called me to preach, and I'll let y'all go. When he called me to preach, I told him, I said, God, I don't want to be a sucky preacher for you. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be weak. I want to be impactful. I'm 45 years old. Just turned 45 November 19th. I'm 45 years old. I feel the same way today. God, I don't want to represent you in a weak way. I don't want to be I don't want to be like basic for God, the one who created all the universe. Hallelujah. The one who knows my ups, my downs, my ins, my outs, who can count the number of hairs that I have on my head, the greatest artist, the greatest scientist, the greatest financial advisor, like the greatest of all times. And I'm his son. I'm his daughter. And you mean to tell me my representation of him is mediocre? I can't do that. I would rather not serve him if I was going to be mediocre. I can't do it. I could only serve him 120%. I can't do it anything less. And so if this is something that I need to do for myself, I need to take these years. You think about it. People take years to go get degrees that they ain't even got a job in. People take years to go master certain things. Celebrity, he was gone for about 15 years mastering self. And now you looking at that person like, man, this is the best I'd ever seen them. Because when you start to invest in yourself, you start to see the value that God saw when he first said your name. That is one of the major issues that we have in humanity, is a lack of value for self. This is why we have people who throw themselves at people. This is why we allow people to abuse us. This is why we allow people to use us, because we have a lack of value. One of the things that God shared with me a long time ago, he said, you got to value your value that I put inside of you. You got to. All right. Well, this is, I think, my time, but I just wanted to share that. Hopefully this was helpful. And if it was, share it with somebody. And I'm looking forward to this next school year for the enlisted. We got a whole men's track with Apostle Samuel Giles. It's for men only. And so I'm excited about that. And also, we have, again, some new things happening throughout the new school year. And so my students, they'll be privy of all of that. Look at Terry. I know that's right. Living proof. You hear me? Living proof. Man, I love that. Y'all look at these testimonies. Y'all look at that. Look at that. But I hope this was helpful. And if it was, like I said, share it with somebody. The link is in the comments. If you're interested in the Enlisted Kneeology School of Prayer and Intercession, it's life-changing. It's a holistic experience. You'll never be the same. Like I said, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm looking for at least 20 to 21 of my year one students to return, or 20 to 22 of my year one students to return to become year two students. I'm looking for 50 new year one students. For this will be their first journey. It is worth it. I hear people say it all the time. I would have spent thousands of dollars for this, and it's not that much. It's not that much at all. So definitely check it out. Listen to the whole thing so you can make a conscious decision. I don't like for people to make decisions that are emotional. So that's why I tell people, nope, I'm not sending you the link to anything until you tell me that you've watched the whole thing. And if you're lying, then we got to deal with the lying spirit. So watch the entire thing and then make a conscious decision. All right. I love y'all. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you soon.